Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, taking a look at the Focke Wulf 159, and don't be deceived, it's a Focke Wulf, but it's only kind of a Focke Wulf, right? You're not really getting into what you'd expect for the rest of the Focke Wulf line, although it does sport a cannon, so that's kind of nice. It's a Tier 3 aircraft as I speed through the purchasing process here. The only difference between this aircraft and the HE-51 is that obviously you lose a set of wings since you're a mono wing now, Parisol wing, believe it or not. But it had two 7.92 machine guns mounted on top, and then your upgrade that you can get will be a hub-mounted 20mm cannon. Now, you heard me mention that the wing design is changed from a biplane. This is what's known as a parasol wing. No, not that kind of parasol. A parasol wing is going to be where you have a mono wing with the aircraft essentially hung underneath it, much more like this aircraft. This is actually called a peat and pull aircraft. For those of you who are unaware, this aircraft has been in existence since the 1920s, or this design has, and it's actually considered a kit build that people can build at home using just balsa wood. I have an interest in building one of those one day if I can ever find enough land for a grass strip at my house. But I digress. Mono wing, parasol aircraft, but kind of an odd looking design for a combat aircraft. It almost looks like they added the wing as an afterthought as I'm looking at it. It's just so weird, isn't it? Anyways, the nice thing about the upgrade for this aircraft is that 20mm cannon mounted in the hub, which gives you a little bit more oomph in how the gun behaves. I can tell you that starting out, since I did the 109 line, this allowed me to already have the hub-mounted cannon unlocked as well as most of the engines. So the only thing I don't have upgraded on this aircraft is the top engine, but I don't think I'm really going to need it since it should only take 2 battles after I've done a little bit of time in the airframe in order to get out of it. It doesn't have the greatest altitude performance, which isn't great because whenever you're fighting over one of these rocket facilities, you find yourself having to get up to higher altitude to encounter the heavy fighters that are the defending aircraft of this base. But with that 20mm cannon, it does give you a pretty decent burst damage, but you can see here it just overheats so quickly that you only get kind of a momentary attack with it, and it does spit every once in a while, and you can do the lion's share of the damage with the 7.92 machine guns. So I favor just holding down the trigger in these instances just because, just look how quick it overheats. It's not... I can do just as much damage in the interim with the 7.92s as I could if I were to wait for the thing to fully cool down and use the 20s. So it's great for those momentary passes where you're in a scissoring fight against another fighter and you just have that extra oomph of a cannon to possibly cripple a control surface or the engine. But you're going to find yourself at a disadvantage going after higher alt targets like those heavies, especially well outside of our altitude envelope, which is why this aircraft looked like it was just floating through the sky. Being that it is a Tier 3, we get a little bit more engine speed, a little bit more maneuverability, and this aircraft sports flaps. So you can actually hold down the flaps and get a little bit more maneuverability out of the aircraft, and you can do some hard braking. And here's an example of the ability to get those cannons on targets for a momentary pass. Oh, come on. Alright, it happens to the best of us, guys. So, I feel bad, but not too bad. It is Tier 3. And we'll come back and see what we can do to help out the team, considering we just cost ourselves a whole bunch of capture points over that zone since we lost not 1 but 2 aircraft due to my inability to control the aircraft. But I figured I'd leave this in anyway since it does highlight that, you know, people make mistakes and it happens. The best thing to do is to recover from it and continue playing the game. Nice thing is our bots were able to capture the rocket base or the military facility, so now we have an offensive base while they do not, which is going to help us start flipping this garrison. And a lot of the enemy attack aircraft are still putting a lot of their effort into trying to get their military facility while our ground attackers are making their way over to this garrison. The ability of the 20s lets me burst down that aircraft You do kind of have to hold your shots if you do want that bursty damage of the 20 until you have an optimal position for getting those cannons to fire. Just because it shows this highlighted red to indicate I'm in range doesn't mean that I'm going to hit all the shots with those cannons. And there's a nice example of how the 7.92s were able to do the lion's share of the damage in between while we were waiting for that 20 to cool down. So it does make sense to just hold down the trigger in some instances with this gun. If you already have yourself in an optimum position to get those guns on target, just let them loose. The 20 will burp every once in a while, which will give you a little bump in damage, but let the machine guns do the work. They should be able to take that target out, and you're not always going to be in optimum position against the target, so take advantage of those situations. Getting in behind this Hawk. Really, it's the cannons that are the only thing that can hit at this range because he's so far away and he has the speed, so I'm not going to let him pull me away from the fight. As soon as I turn, he turns. Sometimes I feel like if a bot's running out of a capture zone and you know that that's the area he's supposed to be fighting over, if you break, even if you're not intending to maintain that braking turn, like I was there, you can bait them into turning back, and then that'll make it so you can close on the target. So it's a nice way to kind of cheat the system a little bit. Now I see that the military facility over here is getting fought over pretty hard, so I would like to go over here and at least counter that fighter aircraft. Since I think that I can get up to his altitude and engage him, and then possibly encounter this ground attacker to give him a little bit of assistance as well. Going into a straight vertical climb, never advised, but that aircraft is taken out, and it looks like the TSH-3 crashed into the pillars over by the bridge, so this was a waste of effort. We're going to head back to the middle and see if we can help defend a little bit more. The military facility on the enemy side looks like it's about to get flipped. Nope, looks like they got knocked down a couple ticks by our attack aircraft over there, so we're sitting in a pretty good state right now, and hopefully we'll get a decent amount of XP out of this battle to help us on our way into what will be the AG-112, which is when you'll start getting into the more traditional mono-wing design and the kind of what you would expect to see when you're looking at World War I, World War II transitional fighter aircraft. Dum-da-dum-dum. Downside of low-tier fighting is just the absolute massive commute time between each one of the objectives. Aircraft are kind of slow, 175 miles an hour. While it feels a little bit faster than the biplane, it's still going to take a while since they're starting to space out the objectives, since I think we're bottom tier in this match. So Focke Wulf 5-7. I'm really going to start operating outside my environment, or my envelope, and my comfortable environment for fighting. We talked about this at the beginning. Going after a military facility and what should be kind of a low altitude fighter is going to be a massive challenge just because the altitudes at which the fights are going to be occurring. Normally I wouldn't want to climb up here, but there isn't much of a fight down low. I do see that there is one fighter aircraft down here, and it is the player. We are squall lined. Unfortunate for you, man, you're just kind of here, and I really can't keep up with the 5-7, so you're the only target I can go after. I feel like this 5-7 trolls me for quite a while here. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna feign a turn, maybe he'll turn back. Maybe he'll turn back. He turns the other way, so now my separation's even more. It's just kind of a pain, and as I start to close on him here, he turns away again, and it just makes it very difficult to keep up with this aircraft. Come on, turn, turn, turn. Oh, there he finally started the turn. Only the cannons can get on target at this range. Now we're starting to close to machine gun range, and we'll unload and see if we can get rid of this guy. Again, this is the end of the battle, so every aircraft we eliminate is an aircraft we're not going to see again, and that immediately puts us into a fight with another tourney fighter, this A7M. Get these guns on target and start attriting him away, and this is that burst damage I was talking about before. This is where this aircraft will excel with the 20mm cannon in the hub, allowing us to be able to get on target. Another aircraft starts coming at us and a head-on, and we manage to take him out because we have the damage to do so. Now we're on to another Hawk 75M. He's gone. So 3 aircraft very rapidly, and another 57. Don't troll me. I need you to go away. And without the 20s pumping out damage, we're just peppering away at what's pretty much nothing left on his hit points. And can I get him? Yes! Got him. And I think that's pretty much the end of the match. Yeah, not a bad showing for the first battle in this aircraft. Not as good as we saw with the HE51, but I'll take it. Let's go to the end result screen and see how we did and how much further along we are in this airframe. 3,600 experience. That's 1,000 more than we got with the HE51. It's not going to put us out of the airframe quite yet, but it's going to get us very close, and that's what we're looking for. The next video you guys will be seeing will be the HE112, as we're pretty much done with this airframe. So, guys, as always, if you liked the video, like, favorite, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you liked and what you didn't like, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.